Hi, everybody. Can y'all hear me? I'm using StreamYard for the first time, and I've discovered I really don't like this software, or actually web app, really, but it works for this. That's just all I need it for. But hi. At least I hope you can all hear me. Echo. Oh, echo. Is there actually an echo? Could be my room. I don't think it's coming from my speakers because my speakers are off. Okay, people can hear me. Yay, okay. Great. Sweet. As I said, it's the first time I'm actually using StreamYards. Really, the only reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to keep logging off and logging in on my Streamlabs OBS, because every time I do that, it breaks my Stream Deck, and I really am lazy and don't want to keep doing it over, like resetting that over and over and over again. So I figured I'd actually try this out. Thank you very much. But I also just realized I don't actually have the chat on the screen. Oops. Well, whatever. I don't know how to add elements to this. I don't know if you can. Oh well. Already broke it. Yeah. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? Cool thing is that I can do cool things like this now, apparently. If you don't know, this shirt is actually from NAMI. There it is. The National Alliance for Mental Health, or Mental Illness, I should say. Basically, stigma-free is the idea that we end the stigma of mental health issues. That before the obvious, that was my big thing, is to talk about my mental health, so that it would become more normal. And then this all happened. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know how to add. Like, I don't think I can add the running chat onto this, because I don't think you can do elements of any kind. Oh well. Okay. Yeah, that might be a thing I will either have you help me with, or I'll literally play with this until I figure it out. One of the two. Anyway, let's talk about the topic at hand, and let's just get right into it. This morning, I guess around 4 o'clock in the morning, because I couldn't get to sleep. Oh, the virtual camera thing, right? I know all about that. That's actually easy for me to do. Crap. Oh well. I'm not going to set it up now. That would take me too long, and I don't want to keep everybody waiting. So, anyway, as I was saying, 4 o'clock in the morning, I actually started writing a bunch of things down in this, and the first thing I started with is the things I'm scared of. And the reason I did that is because yesterday morning, I was having a pretty rough mental health day. Hey, Schrodinger's. Hey, everybody. Gosh, I got a lot of people here. Hi, guys. So what happened was around, it was kind of mid-morning and whatnot. I was thinking about things, and the emotions started overwhelming me, and I got very terrified of, what I'm facing. And I pretty much laid down in bed and didn't get up for about 2 hours or something like that. And I may have caught a nap for 30 minutes, but I just didn't want to get up. And, I just, I didn't find the ability for me to just get up for a while. And I'm not afraid to admit I was crying a lot. And I realized, like, this morning, that really the first thing the main thing I'm afraid of is actually leaving my father alone. My mother passed away completely suddenly in 2018. I've talked about that before. My family is me and dad. That's it. Like dad's cousin is still, or I'm sorry, dad's sister is still alive. She lives in Wisconsin, so he has family, whatnot. But I mean, around here, it's literally me and him. And I don't see Aunt Barb like ever, really. We barely talk, just because we just barely talk, not for any reason. But yeah, it's really me and him. We've said this to each other many times. Back in September of 2019, when I was going through a very bad mental health day then, actually it was a couple of days, I had dreams of self-harm. I would never do that. I even woke up like screaming my head off, like I would never do that, but I had dreams of doing it. And when I say self-harm, I mean the whole way. And it was that day I promised myself that, one, I would never do that, period. Two, I would not leave dad alone. And now I'm kind of scared that I can't keep that promise. It's weird because, I'm a very religious person. I'm not really afraid of dying. I kind of am. But, we believe that there's a life beyond this life. But I don't want to leave yet. And while I was laying in bed yesterday, I realized the next thing I was afraid of is losing my will to fight this. And I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I can tell you yesterday it was, as I said, when I was being emotional, whatnot, I didn't know what I was going to do. But thankfully, I was able to pull myself out of that. And part of the reason is, another thing I'm scared of is letting all my friends down, letting everybody down, everybody who supported me, all you guys in this chat right now, which, holy crap, I have 23 people watching this. Jeez. You guys have supported me, and my real life friends have supported me like crazy. You guys have all supported me, and I don't know most of you, and that I freaking amazing that I love you guys. Like, that you guys would come in here and show your love and support for somebody that you barely know. I love you guys for that. Seriously. It's just really cool to know that I've got so much support out there. And honestly, I would never want to let you guys down. I'm sorry to hear that, Big Al. Seriously, guys, thank you all for your comments in this chat there. Especially, Crafty, I completely agree. But, it's just that, it's that feeling that your parents should never put you in the ground, He should leave me. I should never leave him, basically. At least that's my feeling of it. But thank you guys, seriously. But obviously I'm scared of the unknown, because I haven't had many chemo treatments yet, so we have no idea right now if they're working or not. It's and I'll find out at some point. Obviously, I think after this next treatment, my oncologist is planning a test, like a CT test, a CT scan or something, just to see what's going on. But I've been told that this kind of cancer is just is one of those things. It's the long game, and I know this. I know it's a long haul. I'd love to say that's true. I've been told that this is a 2 to 5 year diagnosis kind of thing. Thank you, Schrodinger. I really do appreciate that. Lars, sorry if I mispronounce anybody's name. I'm really bad at pronunciation. I love the fact that this community has been so open and welcoming. I mean, like I just kind of snuck in at one point, and suddenly everybody is like so behind me. It's amazing. You guys are freaking awesome, and I'm trying to stay strong. That's the thing. And another thing I was writing down is kind of my counters to all of this, because I know it's okay to be scared. Everyone keeps telling me that, and I know it's true. I know it's okay to fear. I know it's okay to be scared. I mean, as I said, because I am. I very much am. And I think I'm always going to be scared. Even though, like a couple of weeks ago, I got the amazing news that I've got, I have things in my cancer cells that can be directly targeted with the right treatments. And obviously we're not going to know if those are going to work or not, but the fact that I have these mutations, which tell me in the medical field when that's a good thing, and I have these mutations in my cancer cells that let me, or they can be targeted with these biological treatment or chemos or drugs or whatever it is, and which go along with the current chemotherapy I'm taking. So it's not like I would be changing treatment. I would just be adding this to my treatment regimen. And I haven't heard back from my oncologist's office yet. I probably won't until next week. My next chemo treatment is Monday, starting technically at 10 o'clock. I have a meeting with my oncologist at 9 before. Oh, thank you, Big Al. I do appreciate that. I don't really do much with this channel, but heck, I completely agree. That's why I do these. It's a good outlet for me to be able to voice the things that are both good and bad. And I honestly think that is healthy. At least I hope it is. If it's not, I'm going to have a big problem, but I don't care. It feels good for me to vocalize these things that I'm feeling. I've never really been afraid to talk about my feelings much. I know, the big thing is normally males don't talk about their feelings or whatever, but I don't care. I've never cared. Probably part of it is because of the mental health issues I was having before, but I've honestly felt more comfortable about it since I started treating for my mental health. And the worst thing is how much freaking medication I have to take right now. I thought it was a lot before when I was just taking my mental health meds, but like every morning I've got like 5 of these things to take. Actually, about 6. Although one of them's gonna end soon. It's just yeah, Mom, that's fine. Go ahead. Anyone can add me a Discord ever. It's just when I get to it. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm on way more medication now than I was before. Not to mention I'm on blood pressure medication. Actually, Blair, the answer is yes. They are different colors. There was a point in my regimen when it was just mental health and my blood pressure meds where every single pill was white. I ended up buying one of these things because I'm also ADHD. So I kind of needed this. At first when I bought this, I'm like, man, this is one of those things like older people use because they've got like a billion things to take. And then I'm like, no, I need this because I need to remember if I've actually taken my meds or not. And since they're all the same color, I need to separate them so I take the right ones. I absolutely appreciate that. And that's part of the reason why another reason why I do this is because it's one of those things, the more you talk about something, the more normal I think it becomes for everybody, not just me, but all other people too. Yeah, I agree. Honestly, with my mental health, I've had issues since, and I've got another video on this, but I'll just talk about it now real quick. I had issues for most of my life and didn't know it. We went undiagnosed, untested, everything for years. I mean, I'm talking from high school. It took me until 2018 when I was at my job, basically, and my job working for a judge. And it started to become very clear that I had issues with things. Mostly like if I did something not even necessarily wrong, but if I did something that my judge didn't like, just wanted it done differently, I would react as if it was the worst thing in the world. Like she described it as all or nothing, basically. Which is exactly how I felt. It was either I did it right or I was just like worthless and didn't deserve the job I had. She realized this at one point and actually pulled me aside and suggested getting tested for ADHD or something. And even recommended a place. I went there and started getting counseling, actually. And then weeks later, I went to a psychologist to get a full assessment done. About a month of testing, which included a written thing, which was like, gosh, some 400 like true false statements or something like that. It was a lot. Just a couple of sessions with these psychologists, like talking, counseling kind of sessions, a brainwave scan where they put the thing on your head with all the little things in it and like scan your brainwaves. That was oddly exciting. Just to kind of see that kind of thing. And doing that actually made it very clear that I was actually suffering from depression. It was weird because I'd gone there to be tested for ADHD, and they're like, well, we don't really know if you have ADHD or not. We're not ruling it out. We're not diagnosing you with it because your depression is so deep that fixing that might fix your problems, but we're not sure. I kind of compared it to peeling back the layers of an onion. It's like, the skin is so deep, so large that we don't really know what's underneath it or not, but you need to deal with the peeling it first kind of a thing. But that's my mental health issues, which I've been treating for, I said, since 2018. And at the beginning of this year, I was finally feeling completely stable. Maybe not completely, but I was finally feeling the point where I was stabilized, mentally speaking. I felt that before, but there's ups and downs in mental health treatment, period. Thanks, Big Al. Talk to you later, man. Thank you so much. Seriously. But no, I finally felt normalized, I should say, I guess. I don't even know if that's a word, but whatever. Like at the beginning of this year. And then March happens. And then I get, diagnosed with this. And, I had the surgery, and in April, my biggest issue was dealing with an ostomy bag. Because, to me, it was the most disgusting thing I've ever dealt with. And yes, Crafty, that's 100% true. That is 100% true. And thank you, Peter. I really appreciate that. Czech Republic. Jeez, guys, seriously, that's awesome. But in April, yeah, I was doing. Near the end of April, I was finally kind of getting around that. I was still able to do most everything I could do before. I was still healing from the surgery, so my abdomen hurt a decent amount, but and I kept ending up in the hospital for bowel blockages. But the problem became at the beginning of May when the cancer apparently affected my gut, specifically my small intestines, to the point where, and I can still feel it. It's hard, not like really hard, but it's if you put your hand on where you're where your belly button is, push in. Like normally that's not like it's soft. Like mine is not as soft as it should be. And what's happening is my gut is slowed down because the cancer is freezing my small intestine. Stuff can still go through. It's just that it hurts. Even like if I sat here and drank like a fourth of this right now, I would, in about like 20 minutes, I would end up in so much pain I'd have to go lay down and just kind of let that go through the system. It's weird because at some point I can feel it gurgling in there, like it's when it finally starts going through. It's why I actually, when I'm drinking like anything, if you see me drinking like soda or juice on a stream and whatnot, I'm hooked up. I will be hooked up to a bag with this G tube that's in my stomach, like that's basically connected to my stomach here. I will be hooked up to that, so most of it goes into the bag and doesn't go into my system. And I do that really to, one, just for the feeling of drinking something. Two, my throat, because it gets dry. Three, to get this weird taste out of my mouth. I don't know what it is. I brush my teeth now like all the time, trying to get this out. I think it's because when I burp, it's a lot of stomach acid or bile, whatever you call it. It's awful, and I hate it, but it is what it is. So, the big thing about this, and I wrote this down, like right here, you can't see it, but I wrote it down, and like, it's okay to talk about this stuff. You know what? It's also okay to cry. As a guy, I guess you're not supposed to, but screw that. It's okay to be emotional. It really is. It absolutely is okay to be emotional. And I wish more people would understand that, like when they're dealing with things like this. You can't just bottle this up. I can't anyway. Maybe other people can. I can't. Oh no, Mom, don't. You're not. You know. You need a sense of humor through this stuff too. Let's put that up here real quick. No, it's 100% understandable. Like as I try to have a lot of levity in my life right now too, because you need it. Holy crap! I need to shave. Jesus. It's hard to clean myself right now, mostly because I've got this thing here. You can't really see it too well. It's a PIC line, they call it. This is where I plug my TPN into every night. This thing here is just to keep all the tubes together so they're not like hanging down here. But yeah, like one of the other things I was oddly scared about is whether I'll ever be able to eat food again. Now, my doctors all say that, it should at least go back to the point where it's able to digest, it's able to digest food normally. I might not have the same like appetite as before. I mean, part of this probably because I'll be on chemotherapy and whatnot, but sorry to hear that, Sam. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, Sam, but at the same time, it's good you were there for her. Honestly, it's great to, it's good to have support. And one of the biggest things I think people need to understand, because everyone always says, it's okay to ask for help. I think one of the more important things is it's also okay to get help. It's okay to have people help you. I mean, like, it took me weeks to ask for one of my friends to come out and cut my hair. Because I hadn't had a haircut since like flipping March. It was June. The longest my hair's ever been. See here, it's all messed up because I keep wearing headphones for streams and such. I do not need a beard. No, I have attempted, so I didn't shave it at all in the hospital, and that was a month. It's the longest this has ever been, and you should have seen how much trouble it was to shave it all off. Now, I don't have like a trimmer or anything like that. I wish I did, because I would have used that first. So I just put shaving gel on and just went to town with my razor. It took a half hour to get down to bare skin again. I'm sitting there thinking, I just put a new blade on. It'll be great. This will just come off. It'll be easy. It did not. It did not just come off. That's why I need to shave like soon, because I need to be able to get this to. I'll probably do that once I'm done with this. But yeah. That's what happened yesterday. I posted a bit on Twitter about it, but that's what kind of happened yesterday was I kind of froze, as I call it sometimes. Like I said, I just laid down and I just didn't want to get up for a while. And then I kept remembering all the people that support me, all of you guys, all my friends. And part of it was I'm like, I didn't want to let everyone down. And, I needed to get up and, and keep my life going, keep things moving forward. Lily, I used to think that too. And it's a struggle. It will always be a struggle, especially if you're not used to asking for help. I mean, I had to ask nurses in the hospital to help me grab like a blanket that was at the end of my bed, because I couldn't reach it, because I couldn't like bend over with my, the pain in the abdomen I was having. I felt so embarrassed, but the nurses came in and like, I even said that, I'm like, I'm so embarrassed that I have to even ask you for this. And they looked at me, they're like, you just had major surgery. This is what we're here for. And that kind of stuck with me. Your friends are there for you. Your real friends. They're there for you. And if you need help, just ask them. And they may not be able to help you right then. They may not be able to help you, but, they can be there for you. They can at least, try to help you mentally speaking, or just being there is for me is just the most important thing. Knowing that at any point I could reach out to my friends and call them, and be like, hey, I need to talk to you and whatnot. And knowing that a lot of them would just drop everything and do that is absolutely humbling. It is. I love people. I always like taking care of people. I've always liked making other people happy. So to ask for help like this sometimes is really hard, because I want to make other people happy. I don't necessarily want them to make me happy. You know what I mean? Next weekend, my friends are actually planning on having a big, I don't want to call it a party per se, but a gathering here. Because I used to host a bunch of our poker games and whatnot here. And they basically want to have a reunion, so to speak. Because a lot of our friends have gone off and whatnot. But a lot of them are coming back. And the worst thing to me is that everyone's going to come over and get things ready for this thing, and I can't really help. I love cooking for other people, for instance. I make these amazing meatballs, for instance, and I normally buy sliders, cheese and whatnot, slider buns and cheese and whatnot, and things, toppings and whatnot, and people love them. I make this buffalo chicken stuff with soft tacos, sour cream, lettuce, and whatnot, and have this big smorgasbord out for people. I love hosting. The fact that I can't do that and I'm having people over here is really hard. That everyone else is going to be doing the work for me is it hurts. And could I cook? Yeah. But the biggest problem is I wouldn't really be able to, eat any of it. If I get, I'll say this right now. If I get the ability to eat again, or when I get the ability to eat solid food again, I'll try to figure out how to do some kind of cooking stream. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be good or anything like that, but, I'll try something. I've been, ever since the pandemic started last year, I bought an air fryer. That has become the only thing I use for cooking for the most part. I mean, I obviously use my stovetop too, but for the most part, the main thing I use is my my air fryer. The really sucky thing is I bought a new air fryer while I was in the hospital, thinking when I get out, I was going to be able to use it. It's still in the box right now. I didn't want to send it back because I'm I still want this thing. I just, I have to wait, for maybe a couple of months. Sam, I'm the same way. I was thinking yesterday, I wanted to go outside, and walk, just take a walk outside. And I didn't go because right now I can't trust my energy to be able to not kind of crash Let me show you what I've got right now, because I honestly don't remember the brand. I'm really bad at that kind of thing because I've had it for so gosh darn long. I'll put this in the chat here. That's the one I've been using, mostly because it has Wi-Fi. I love my air fryer too. My air fryer is like the most amazing thing ever. Yeah, that is a very true statement, Crafty. Like it really is. It does feel bad, especially when you know you could have done this yourself, like back before this started. But at some point, you need to realize that you can't do this by yourself. In something like this, like you can't do this by yourself. Like, you need the support of others. You will probably not make it through this if you just try to do this by yourself. So and I mean, I've got a great team of doctors, and they are working hard for me as they can. Oh, gosh, Tanny, yeah. I figure when my gut starts to loosen up again, I figure what's going to happen is I'm going to start off. I'm probably going to still be on my TPN for a while. But my guess is I'm going to start off being able to drink like water, juices, and whatnot, like as a normal thing, and kind of like transition into softer foods. Although I've already had like dreams of like using the blender to blend up things that I really like. Just see how that works. I don't know if it will or not, but I have a Blendtec blender. It works really well. I used to make smoothies all the time. That's something I really would like to get back to doing. In fact, it was funny. In May, I had bought like a decent amount of fruits, orange juice, some Greek yogurt I use for the smoothies and whatnot, and I had planned to start making those more often to kind of get like a good, fruits and stuff back into my system again, because I had been neglecting my diet a bit in April, in so much as I would just eating. Although I didn't go out for fast food the entire month of April, which is like a record for me. So I was really happy about that. There's a lot of chicken, steak, kind of thing. Salmon, definitely salmon. I love salmon. Oh my gosh, I love salmon. But yeah, the blend knife. Yeah, Blendtec's amazing. Yeah, but I'm hoping, praying that at some point my gut just opens up again. This not like it'll be slow probably, because they're gonna have to wean me off the TPN anyway if and whenever that happens. Lord knows whenever that'll happen. I get I believe Atlantic salmon. I get it from Walmart. It's not it's not like the bestest thing in the world, but it's vacuum sealed and not frozen, so whatever. It all goes up in the air fryer well enough, and what I do with it is okay. I'll recipe time, I guess. I take a fillet of salmon. Normally I get when I do this, I normally just get the skinless versions of it, just because it's easier to deal with. I know the skin on salmon is freaking amazing if you do it right, but anyway, I take the fillet, salt and pepper, either paprika or cayenne pepper, depending on what I'm feeling at the time. And then I'll take some Dijon honey mustard, kind of like put a layer on top. And then, those French like fried onion things, just crush those up and put that on top. Put in the air fryer. Comes out flipping amazing. Stupid simple. Barely any prep time, and the cooking time is really short. It's like 8 minutes or something like that. I kind of forget now. Biggest problem with my recipes is that I make them all from memory. So because I haven't done these for a while, it's going to take some remembering as to stuff. But I think I just used the fish setting on the air fryer anyway. But I don't even know what. I honestly don't even know what PNW salmon even is, or Pacific Northwest maybe. Nice. Yeah. If I wasn't a lawyer, maybe I missed my calling. I kind of doubt that, but unfortunately, I'm closer. Well, I'm not even close to the coast, so you just got to deal with what they get here, and and pretty much all the meat stores, whatnot, is basically like the same thing, like Atlantic salmon, like fillets and whatnot, or big sides of it, if you feel like doing that kind of a thing. I've never bought a big side because I don't like freezing things. Like I'll freeze chicken because that just works, but I don't know. I never really feel like freezing a lot of things. I always like using it fresh. But I should, although I did, another thing I bought in the hospital, I did buy a vacuum sealer. Because I'm like, I buy things fresh all the time and then I don't use them and then they go bad. So, dude, an air fryer, you can do a lot in an air fryer. You can do way more in an air fryer than you think. My father, what happened is my father had one. Like, he bought one out of nowhere. And all he was using it for was, like, frozen French fries. Like the frozen things that it could just heat up, like frozen chicken strips or whatnot, which, an air fryer does. But I borrowed it because I wanted to see how things would come out. And the first thing I did was air fry some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, like raw, just like out of the package and whatnot. And they came out amazing. And I immediately bought my own. And I take this one, I clean it and take it back to dad, take the dad's back to him. And see you, Keck. Thank you so much for stopping by. Seriously, man. So anyway, I took it back to him and told him what I made. And he looked at me like, you can do that? Well, yeah. An air fryer is just a mini convection oven, really, when you think about it. You could do anything in there that you want. Anyway, we've gotten so far off topic, I don't care. I like talking about food, and it sucks trying to talk about food where I can't eat any of it, because you guys don't know what it... I mean, maybe some of you do, but, like, I feel hungry all the time. I feel like craving things all the time. Like, even at this point, like a McDonald's Big Mac, which I do like, but like it's like, or like, a Whopper, or like fried chicken from KFC, all this stuff, like I just want to eat something again, like make chicken wings. I've said before, like the moment I can eat normal solid food again, I'm going to Buffalo Wild Wings and ordering like some chicken wings and whatnot. And I'm like, I know I could make them better myself. I don't care. I want that, like, lower quality, wings from, a place with fries and whatnot. Teach. Oh, geez, goodness gracious. Well, good luck, Peter, with that. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I love you guys, seriously. At this point, I'm kind of rambling. Does anyone, like, if you guys want to ask me anything, please feel free. Seriously, I do enjoy talking about my mental health for one, and I do want to talk more about, my feelings about like what's going on with me, whatnot. And as I said, the biggest thing I did this morning, because I couldn't get to sleep, was just start writing down the things I'm afraid of, writing down the things that like why it's okay to be scared. That's about as far as I got. My cat's probably laying on my bed. I've never made mashed potatoes with potatoes. Like I've always used the powdered stuff and whatnot because I can't be bothered. But yeah, well, for some odd reason, there was a period in my life that I wanted to make potato salad for no reason. I don't know why. I never did it, and I kind of just completely like went away after a while. But I don't know why I wanted that, but I did for some odd reason. As far as I could tell, Tina, my cat, did pretty well. The city had fireworks going off, and I'm pretty close to downtown, so they were pretty loud here. And of course, I live in an area where they just blow off fireworks, despite the fact that they're not supposed to in the state of Ohio, but no one cares. Especially on like this street. Like this street here, like it's so quiet. Like no one. The best thing about my street is no one comes down it unless you live here. Like there is no reason for anyone to come down this street unless you live on it. Which my neighbor would then tell me about every single person she saw that didn't live on this street, because my neighbor is, watchdog of the area apparently. Yeah, Brooke, it's hard sometimes to accept that kind of a thing. It really is. And I'm in therapy as far as like counseling and whatnot. I've had this counselor since 2018. She's amazing. Yeah. Our city had fireworks, thankfully, but I believe half the city was still doing their own thing anyway. I'm sorry to hear that, Brooke. I hope that gets, I hope you can get that sorted. Is there anything else anyone wants to know? Yeah, I know a number of people's like dogs who do go crazy with that kind of thing. I know my cat was just like mellow throughout the entire thing. I mean, I think sometimes her head popped up and like looked around, but she didn't appear, I should say, like she was panicking or scared or anything like that. I think it was just more along the lines of she was just running around. Like, I mean, it was the same time where like at night where she starts like running around from room to room as it is anyway. All right, so there's a good question. So what do I have besides depression? Well, that's an interesting story because I had 3 different psychiatrists within a calendar year. My current psychologist actually believes I don't necessarily have depression, more along the lines of bipolar 2, which is a very milder version than bipolar 1. But along with that, I've got ADHD, and I don't remember if he kept the anxiety diagnosis or not. But so real quick, let me tell you about my adventures in psychiatrists. So the first place I went to is like a public agency kind of thing. It's where a lot of the court sends a lot of juvenile like defendants too, juvenile like delinquents and whatnot. They'll send them there and whatnot, but it's a public agency and whatnot. So I went there first because they were the first place I could get into. Doctor there was fine. He's one of those guys where you talk to him for a while, then he just kind of tells you what's going to happen, and then you just kind of do that. But one day, they double booked an appointment, which meant I knew I was going to be waiting there for a while. But after I was in the waiting room for like 45 minutes, I went to the desk and I'm like, hey, I've been here for 45 minutes and nothing. Well, it turns out they forgot to check me in. So my psychiatrist didn't know I was there. And this was right after I had the self-harming thoughts, and I'm like, I really need to talk to him. And they're like, oh, well, don't worry. He's in session right now, so we'll just peek in real quick, let him know that you're here, so he doesn't, so he knows you're here, whatnot, so don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. Okay. Go back and sit down. About 10 minutes later, they call me back up, and they're like, yeah, he left for the day already. We didn't know that, so we can reschedule you for next Monday. I think it was Wednesday. I'm like, okay, next Monday, fine. Like double booked again, but I'm like, whatever. I don't care as long as I get to see him. So that Friday, I get a phone call. No, it was Monday. That Monday, because my appointment was going to be early afternoon, but earlier in the morning, I get a phone call, and they're like, yeah, he's sick, so he's not in today. So we can reschedule you for next Monday. He should be back by then. Like, okay, fine, whatever. So Friday comes around, and I get a phone call from them again. They're like, yeah, he's not going to be in Monday because of this. All I hear is because of the situation. Like, I don't know what that means or whatever. So I'm like, okay. And they're like, the next appointment he has available is January 28th. Keeping in mind, this was the beginning of November. So, like, we're talking like 2 months. And longer, actually, like 2.5 months. They're like, we can set you up with a nurse appointment Wednesday. Like, okay. I don't even know what that is, but whatever. Well, it's supposed to be like you go in, nurse, like you talk to the nurse, and it's supposed to get the information to the doctor and whatnot. Well, I go in, I talk to the nurse, I tell her about the self-harming thoughts and all this stuff and whatnot, and she's like, okay, well, try to get you in as soon as possible to see him. Okay, great. I go to the front desk. They look at me like, yeah, you already have the soonest appointment we can get you in for. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Bye. So I leave there and I immediately start calling other places. I find this private practice, and they can get me in like faster than like the agency could get me in. So like I got the intake appointment and my first appointment with my new psychiatrist, my second psychiatrist, before they could get me in for their appointment for my first one. So I just called them up. I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. So I get paired up with a nurse practitioner at this place, and he's great. Like, he is 100% great. Like, instead of like me just talking and him just saying, this is what we're gonna do, it felt like we were making a plan together. Like I would tell him what's going on. He would give me options. We would discuss the options, like the pros and cons of all of the options. Like, it seriously was a great relationship, as it were. It was really good. But one problem happened, and it was right around the time it was right after all the lockdowns started in 2020. The problem was the only MD of the practice got his license permanently revoked by the Ohio Board of Medicine. You might imagine how that's going to affect a private practice. My nurse practitioner is like, I don't have a collaboration agreement anymore, which is what I need to prescribe things. The firm got one for like 3 months before they finally shut down. So I was able to get my prescription drugs for a little while, but my nurse practitioner had set it up for 3 months, but on month 3, the pharmacy was like, yeah, we're not filling any prescriptions from that place anymore. Like, oh, okay, great. So I had to contact my PCP, like hurriedly, panically, and be like, hey, look, I know you don't like prescribing these drugs, because he's the one who told me to get a psychiatrist for management anyway, because he's the one who first prescribed me Wellbutrin, my PCP, but he wasn't comfortable prescribing like anything else. Rightfully so. I get that. So that's why he wanted me to get a psychiatrist. But I call him up. I'm like, hey, look, I've been pretty stable on these for a while now, and here's the situation, and I just need like a month or like 2 months of this so I could find a new psychiatrist. So he did prescribe the medications and whatnot, so I was fine. I called around again, and I ended up with the psychiatrist that I currently have. Technically speaking, he's the one I've been with the longest now at this point. He's a resident at University of Toledo's Medical College. But we've been through a lot, especially since I got, the cancer. But yeah, he is the reason that I actually felt stable, like at the beginning of the year. I still on Wellbutrin, but he put me on. I was on they call an SSRI, Zoloft, or there was another drug, I forget what it's called at this point, but and then it was kind of working, but not entirely. So at one point he's like, okay, let's just start over. Like, tell me everything. Like, again, just because when you came in, you presented with depression, but start over. Like, just let's talk about everything from like childhood forward. So I start from the beginning and whatnot. And when I get to the end of it, that's when he says, your symptoms sound a lot more like bipolar 2 than they do depression. And he put me on a mood stabilizer, Lamictal, which apparently is mostly used for like seizure medication, but is also used for like as a mood stabilizer. And ever since I've been on that, and Adderall for the ADHD, honestly, and the Wellbutrin, I've said I felt mentally stable. Go figure, all of that was leading me up to what I'm going through now. Like, if I hadn't gone through, no, it's not blue. If I hadn't gone through this mental health stuff, I don't think I would be having this discussion with any of you right now. I think I would be in a very, very bad place right now. Honestly, I don't even want to think about where I would be right now, because it's entirely possible I would not be here. And I don't mean like here on the internet and talking to all of you. I honestly think I would not be here if I hadn't gotten my mental health sorted before this happened. Thank you, Rodent of Anger. I'm probably going to wrap up here soonish and whatnot, because it's been an hour. I did not expect to go on for this long. But hey, you know what? If you guys have anything you want me to talk about, because I'm pretty good at talking about things, as you've noticed. Apparently, I just like hearing my own voice. I don't know. If you guys have anything you'd like to delve into more, just please say so. I'm getting a phone call from my nurse navigator. She did not leave a message. Okay. Hold on. I think if I just open my door, she'll come in. Let's see. Anyway, I have what's called a nurse navigator. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that before, but she's like my first point of contact for like all of my doctors. She's the one like I contact and can get things. She can get things set up. She can get things done. Like she's like the main coordinator of things and whatnot. Obviously, like my oncologist is in charge of my treatment, but she's great. Tina, see if she comes in here. She does respond to her name. The first time she ever responded to her name was crazy. Thanks, Crafty. Appreciate that. But yeah, the first time Tina like ever responded to her name, like I was shocked. She's probably laying on either my bed or the spare bed I've got, chilling out because I've got the AC on, and she's pretty not energetic during this time of the year. Well, thank you for saying that, Beverly. Yeah, it is an adventure. Absolutely. But it does seem like at the moment I've got the right drugs for a lot of this. So we'll see. So specialists suggested adding certain things. Oh gosh, Sam, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to hear that. And it's colon cancer. Oh, that's what I've got right now. But as I said, hopefully, my doctors are all like, "You're so young, you'll take to the treatments well. Your body can heal better. So we think that you're going to like take to the chemo very well." Specialist also believes that and is like, with this medication too, you're probably going to get through. I feel like you'll get through this, but if you don't, we've got these other plans that we can start doing too. Not really, Blair. I can tell you the best thing that I've got right now is my liquid oxycodone. Does help. I think I have. I've never tried it. I think I've heard of it though. I think the private firm I went to is actually like using that and had an article on their website about it, and then they kind of went under. Although apparently they're trying to reopen, like with a new like collaboration agreement with a different MD, and it was like kind of like a merger, like this company doing business as this firm here with the same name. Although I don't know if you can keep the name, considering the named person on there is no longer a doctor. I will say, for the sake of being an attorney, he is appealing his permanent revocation of his license. He's actually been appealing since like 2020, and it's still pending, and I don't know why. Like all of the briefing is done and whatnot, literally waiting for the court to make a decision. It's been what we call decisional since July of last year, so I don't know. So what led to my cancer diagnosis? That's a good question. Rectal bleeding, actually. I noticed I was having blood in the toilet around mid-January. And it's happened before, and it just goes away. So I figured, a hemorrhoid or whatever, or just some injury around that area. But it didn't go away. And I had an appointment with my PCP on March 1st. In February, I'm noticing, but it's bright red blood. And I looked it up, and everything I was reading is it's hemorrhoids or maybe a polyp or whatnot. And so I wasn't too worried about it. And then my PCP is well, let's get you to a GI doctor, because you probably got, again, polyp or hemorrhoids or whatever. Well, GI doctor did his examination, is no, that's blood in your stool, which led to a colonoscopy 2 days later, which led to a CT scan 2 days after that. That was a Friday. Monday, March 15th, I got the diagnosis of colon cancer. And it wasn't until the surgery on March 30th that they're it's a stage 4 disease, which means it's already spread through my abdomen. I heard a bell. The cat's got a little bell thing on her. I don't have any idea about those. Don't think I'd use LSD anyway. Although I have 2 opioids I'm on, technically speaking. I have a fentanyl patch and then the liquid oxycodone. I have a palliative care doctor, which when you first hear that word, just because I was reading some stuff, normally on cancer treatments, when you get the palliative care, that normally means that they're going through the chemo and all of the treatments so that either you can live slightly longer and feel somewhat comfortable. Basically they try to do everything they can to make you comfortable while you go through the treatments and your inevitable end of life. But come to find out that palliative care doctors, they're really there to just make you comfortable while you're going through treatment. Doesn't mean end of life care. It's not even people who go in the hospice isn't always there for their end of their life. Which, again, when you first hear this, when they were telling me in the hospital that there was nothing else they could do for me, I was flipping out. But what they meant was there's nothing they could do for me in the hospital at that point. Not that there's nothing that couldn't be done for me. Yeah, keep up with that, Brooke. Seriously. I know somebody at my church, the campus I'm at anyway. We have the children's ministry director. Basically, it's where you drop your kids off while you're there at service, and we have a service for the children and whatnot. She was diagnosed with 3 types of cancer within 3 weeks. 2 types of breast cancer and thyroid cancer. Her treatment's finished on March 15th, and she appears to be cancer-free. Now, obviously, she's taking some pills for the next 5 years to make sure that stays that way. But she survived. She went through some rough chemo, though. She had something they call the Red Devil, which put her out for days at a time. I have started chemotherapy. Last Monday was my 3rd cycle. The first 2 cycles I actually had in the hospital. Honestly, I haven't noticed much. I was told that this chemo that I'm on, one doesn't have the hair loss thing that most chemos do. So I can apparently keep this, even though I don't really care. Honestly, before I heard that, I was literally planning on getting my head shaved just because I was expecting it. Then I found out I didn't like don't have to, at least most of the time. Apparently, this chemo also doesn't cause a lot of the side effects you normally get, where you get, like fatigue, nausea, hard nausea, vomiting, all that kind of stuff. Apparently, this chemo doesn't really have a high percentage of causing that. But my chemo is also kind of different. Hey, Mela, thank you so much for being here. See you later. But my chemo is kind of different because, so one thing that a lot of people told me to do, which I actually ended up not having a choice because my surgeon was like, we're scheduling to do this. I have a chemo port like right here. Like, so they can access that, and like that's where they put my chemotherapy through, basically. But I go to the hospital for outpatient, chemotherapy. They do the infusions there. Part of the regimen is an anti-nausea medication, whatnot. But I have last time I was there was like a 2-hour infusion. I'm expecting it to be longer this time because they're probably going to add something to it. But then they give me a pump, which they hook up to my chemo port, which I have to take home. And if I go in on a Monday, I'll have this pump on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday I'll take it back to the hospital and have it disconnected, whatnot. But it's a 46-hour infusion of chemotherapy. So that I had that in the hospital, and when laying in a hospital bed, you don't really care much, but it's a weird thing because they give you this fanny pack to put it in, so you can keep it close to you, whatnot. The tubing for it's kind of long. It's long enough for me to hang it on a chair and go to bed, so I don't have to worry about it much. But it didn't really feel much. The weirdest thing was they gave me something to help my white blood cell count, because when I had chemo last week, I was actually supposed to have it the week before, but my white blood cell count was so low they couldn't do it. So they added a drug that I get after the chemotherapy to kind of help promote my white blood cell count, which apparently worked too well because last Friday my white blood cell count was through the roof. And I forget what when I say the normal range is 3 to 11, it's 3 to 11, something per something, but I don't even know what those numbers are. But what I can tell you is when I got the chemotherapy last week, my white blood cell count was at 23, which is the normal range is 3 to 11. And they had to check with the doctor, but the oncologist is yeah, go ahead. I mean, higher is better than lower, so whatever. They were like, did you have an infection? Do you feel bad? No, I feel fine. But last Friday, I get blood work done every week. My home care nurse comes over and takes blood, whatnot, and drops it off at the lab. I got a text from her saying, your white blood cell count is 64. I've called your oncologist's office. Do you have whatnot? And she was panicking, I guess, and whatnot, which was freaking me out. But then she looked through my stuff and realized that I had gotten that medication that promotes white blood cell count production, and realized, oh, that's probably what's causing it. It's okay. You can stop freaking out now. And I was supposed to get a call from my oncologist's office, but I didn't that day. Although it said my nurse navigator just called me, so that's probably why she was calling me, because I just left a message with her like, hey, my white blood cell count is through the flipping roof. Is this a problem? So I'm probably going to call her when I'm done with this. I'm sorry to hear that, Sam. I am, seriously. All right, so I think I'm going to end this here. I've gone on for over an hour. Jesus. We've talked about a lot of things, mostly food. But to bring this back to the actual topic, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be emotional. And it's okay to get help. And as I said, I wrote down the things I'm like scared of, basically. And honestly, that helped to kind of like put words to paper. You know, kind of like name the thing and whatnot, you know. I don't know if I'd call it cool or not, but I kind of have an S like down here. I'm not gonna show it because whatever. Kind of like an S like right here near my belly button. It's kind of weird looking, but it's healing. So, but anyway, I'm gonna hit it, guys. I just again want to thank all of you for your support, your love, your words. Seriously, it helps more than you know. I mean, absolutely more than you could possibly realize. It helps so much to know that like people out there care. So thank you all. You know, if you've been watching this like live or if you're watching the VOD and somehow got through the whole thing, I appreciate it. Seriously. You guys are amazing. I love you all. And like it's humbling when I go into somebody else's stream, just say hi, and the number of people who will like literally just ask how my day was is seriously, you know, it means a lot to me. It really does. So thank you all for being here. I will talk to all of you next time. I don't really have like a schedule for these things. It's just like when I feel like I have something I want to talk about, I kind of jump into it. So anyway, thank you guys all for being here. Seriously. I love you guys. Have a good day. I will probably be live on my Twitch stream sometime later today. I think really depends on my energy levels because I'm probably going to go lay down after this is done. So yeah, but hopefully later. Anyway, thank you guys all. I love you. Bye, all.